Hello, work wife. Welcome to another episode of Dear Work Wives. I'm Adrienne,
I'm Emily.
and I have a theme for us today.
Ooh, I'm excited. What is it?
You are?
Yeah.
It's all about like hiring.
Okay. Exciting.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting.
Okay, let's do this. I love talking about hiring.
You ready?
I'm ready.
You
Just
do?
dive in.
Okay. So I was on Twitter
Oh, no.
X last night.
Scary place.
I haven't been on there in a while. I think like since it turned X, I hadn't really been on. Do you go on there at all?
I only
Do you
ever
even
go.
have an X account?
I only have one because there's a very active Twitter community around getting Taylor Swift tickets.
Okay.
So I have been on there in the last little while, but I'm not a regular X user. My husband is. He gets a lot of sports stuff from it.
Okay.
A lot of the sports guys.
My husband is also a regular X user, probably more for like gaming and politics.
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly why I avoid it. Politics.
Correct. Same.
Like, no thanks.
But so funny because, okay, so last night I was like, maybe I should be on like X more, going down my social media rabbit hole of like, which social media platform am I going to spend more time on? Like, I need to spend more time on any social media platform. So I'm doom scrolling on X.
Yeah.
I also, like, what do we call a tweet now if it's
a tweet?
X.
I don't know.
You still call it a tweet?
I have no idea. I think it's a post. I don't know. A tweet.
Okay. Lame.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm like, I was starting to like follow some new accounts that I was interested in because I hadn't really like gone in there and followed people in a long time. So I was like, oh, I want to follow this person and this person to see like what they talk about on Twitter. X, whatever. I'm just going to call it Twitter, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah.
The social media platform formerly known as Twitter. And then it starts like suggesting people to me based on who I was following, right? And this name comes up and I'm like, that name is really familiar. Like, I know that person. I went to college with them. And they were in like a fraternity that we spent a lot of time with. Like, I knew this guy. And I don't know if he would remember me now, but I definitely remember him. And I click on his profile. He has like hundreds of thousands of followers. And he's like an entrepreneur, business expert. I remember that like years ago, I went down this rabbit hole it like sparked a memory for me. I was like, oh, I remember he was like really entrepreneurial actually. And he started this company like 2013. He started this company that was an AI tool for like for the hiring process, so like matching people with like an AI feature. So like very like to me 2013 like pretty early on to be like using AI in a hiring process, right?
Yeah.
So he starts this company. He sold it for $110 million.
Dream.
Dead. Like, this is a guy that I know. I'm like, can you imagine? Where did I go wrong? Like, he was not that cool in college, But
he just had the right idea.
He didn't peg me as someone that was like also super wicked smart, but obviously he was. I mean, I knew he like did well, but he wasn't like nerdy, Like he was in the fraternity, like partying, whatever. So then so that was like the last that I had remembered about him was when he sold this company. I saw that in social media at the time back in 2018 or whatever. I was like, oh yeah, he did sell that company, but what has he been doing since then? So now I'm on his like X profile. I go to his website. I see what he's doing. He started right after that company. He started another company that is like basically like Uber for the sky. Like these electrical vehicles for the sky. Okay.
What?
Like flying electrical
Sounds like the Jetsons.
vehicles. Yes. So he starts this company. It's now like it went public. It's worth $2.7 billion. Okay.
I've never once heard of an electrical flying vehicle though.
They just did a deal with United Airlines.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay, so this has been like, this is the stuff they're working on in the works, right? Like underground, obviously they're testing it. They're like, we haven't seen them yet, but I don't think maybe I got it wrong with like Uber. I don't think it's like that, but it's like electrical flying vehicles. I don't know if like how the process works for how you get one. Do you have to buy one? Are they taxis? Like, what is it? I don't know. But so now he has like the second unicorn company that he started, right?
Right.
Okay, so now, he has a third company. Okay, this third company is also very successful, valuated at even higher than like the 2.7 billion. I forget what it was, but it was also valuated very high because it's humanoid AI, like humanoid robotics, right? So think of like at a coffee shop, it's a human robot getting you a coffee, or like, and so this is to help in like the manufacturing space. And I mean, it could be a really big thing, right? But he's also started this humanoid company. And I'm like, how do you have 3 ideas like this? Like 3 unicorns.
Yeah.
Like he must be wicked smart, or like partnering with the right people, just like really in this. He reminds me of like a very young Elon in terms of like how he thinks of like
future
things
thinking
to like change the world, you know, like changing the game here.
Yeah.
So all that to say, I'm on Twitter.
Okay.
And I see a post from him, and he's obviously run a lot of companies, hired thousands of people over the years. And this is the post that it got like, well, when I screenshotted it last night, 4.7 million views on this post, 500 reposts, tons of comments, whatever it says. I often see resumes where someone has worked at 6 companies over the last 10 years. I'm staring at one right now. These job hoppers usually last a little under 2 years per company on average. If someone has a jumpy resume, it's the first thing I notice. It's so blatant to me, yet it continues to fool a lot of people. Thinking back over the last 15 years at my companies, I've hired thousands of people, and I can't think of a single person I've hired with a jumpy resume who has worked out long term. Not one. Okay, he got annihilated in the comments. Like, people were not in support of this message.
Yeah.
Except one person reposted it and said 100% true. Who is it?
Alex Her.
Who reposted this?
Elon.
Ugh. Elon. He said, and like he reposted, he's like, I have one person who agrees with me.
Yeah. And it's Elon Musk.
It's Elon.
So take that.
So take that, guys.
But I think we can all agree, like, Elon has great ideas, but he doesn't promote a healthy culture.
So this is what I want to talk about. Okay. Because the comments are from lay people, right? Like your average,
like me.
Probably
like a me.
Like me.
Yeah.
Me, you, like people on X who are just commenting. And there was a lot of people who were also like, well, verify, but you never know these days. Is someone verified because they pay for it? Or is someone verified because they actually are a reputable, celebrity or entrepreneur, business owner, whatever. But there was a lot of people. It's not surprising because you as the company owner are looking out for the company, but you're not looking out for the individuals. And if someone is jumping around, it's usually to grow themselves or grow their career, right? Like people jump around to increase their pay, to get out of a toxic work environment, there's a multitude of reasons why someone would do that. But typically the person is looking out for their own best interests, which we can't typically trust employers to do, right? So it's like, well, yeah, you say that because they're looking out for themselves instead of looking out for you. but I would be interested in understanding from your company, from the people that work at your company, like,
Right.
do you look out for them? Because
What's
that
your
would be
benefit
great
package?
if you do. Yeah. But like, if not, then I don't blame someone for jumping, you know?
Yeah. No one's going to leave a job that satisfies their most pressing need unless they have to. And I think what employers need to understand is everyone's most pressing need is different. So some people, their most important thing at work is personal and professional satisfaction, fulfillment, whatever. Other people, their most pressing need is health insurance, literally, benefits.
Yeah.
Other people, it's making the most money that they can make.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a cap on the salary at this place, so they're going somewhere else to make more. I think, were we talking about it on this? I feel like I was talking about this with you, where like you should leave a job right before you get the promotion, not right after you've gotten it, because then you have like a little bit more negotiating power. Or maybe I'm reversing that. I think there's an argument to make either way.
We were talking about someone who had like they were leaving a job, or they were asking about leaving a job, like shortly after they had just gotten a promotion.
Yeah.
And
it's like, you hadn't proven that you'd done the work, you know what I mean? But you can, I don't know, I definitely feel like it's much easier to make a big jump in your resume. If someone's looking to fill a director level or a C-suite level position, like if you in your career are about to enter a director or C-suite level promotion, like you can talk yourself up in, it's much easier to like go to a new place and like say, these are all the skills I have, this is why I'm primed, like tailor, than it is sometimes to like move into a director position at your company because there isn't one. Somebody has to leave, you know? Like somebody has to retire, somebody has to leave. Like, I don't understand this, like this abhorrence to people trying to better themselves and whatever is most valuable to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a completely selfish viewpoint, right, that he has.
Right.
To like not hiring people who are jumpy. To counter that, I would think about like, well, how can you make this a place that they don't jump from, right? How can you meet their needs so that they're not jumping again? Or are some people just inherently jumpy? I don't think so. I think that they jump because they want either a new challenge or more opportunity, or they want to better themselves.
Or your workplace
they
sucks.
Have a manager that like the place sucks, right? So those are all things that you could navigate with someone internally, right? Like, do they need a new challenge because they're bored? Do they need a pay raise because they're worth more now? Do they need a new department because they don't see themselves growing in that department, or they need something different, give them more variety? Maybe they get bored easily.
Do they need a structure to how they work? Like,
different structure.
There's so many things people need.
And my thought, like, that when you were just saying that, is like, so many people need different things, right, to like not jump somewhere else or to like meet their needs. And is it possible for larger organizations to meet everyone's needs? Or is that just going to be the nature of working for a larger organization? Is that like some people's needs are going to get met and others aren't, because we can't do that here. We can't do all of it. Whereas at small businesses, we can do more of that, right? Like,
you can customize,
sometimes, right? Like, but then there's other trade-offs.
Sometimes you can do even less.
Yeah, sometimes you can do even less, because like sometimes you don't have the salary that someone wants, or sometimes there isn't a position open that was going to give them a title that they want for, more like ego maybe reasons, right? Like they need a title, or they fulfillment. Yeah, like maybe so maybe it's just a question of like, whose needs are we trying to meet? Whose needs can we meet? And as company owners, how do we meet as many needs as possible so that we can keep people around for the long haul? Or do we just accept that some people are going to jump because we can't meet their needs, but that's okay and it's part of the process?
I think this brings in the conversation of like equitable versus equality. Like we want to be as equitable as possible, which means, I mean, and this, I'm not speaking about like ADA, like the things that we actually have to do to be equitable. I'm saying like some people want more time off, some people want a raise, some people want more vacation. You know, everybody wants kind of different things to fill their needs, and I believe that the most equitable way is to, as a company, just be transparent. Like these are our values. This is where we have limited resources to how we can support our team. This is how we as a company are choosing to spend our resources, whether that's, you know, 401k matching or health insurance or what bouncy balls at the desk, whatever it is that you're deciding as a company as your way of, you know, and team members have the ability to say like, I appreciate the work that you do, but it doesn't meet my needs, so I'm going to go look over here. And there's no like, why does there have to be hard feelings in that, you know? But I think as long as it's the lack of transparency around how you're supporting or not supporting your team members, and then getting mad at them for needing a different type of support that you're never going to offer them. Yeah. Some places cannot offer flexible schedules. And if as we as humans enter different stages of our lives, shocker, our schedules change. The needs outside of work change. So maybe you've been somewhere for a few years and now your partner is pregnant and you need different hours, and that's not something your current place can accommodate. Well, then I'm going to go find a place that can, and no hard feelings, you know? Yeah. It just drives me wild that people like, and this is why the humanoid robots are becoming so popular, because they just don't, like, humans are far too complex for the system to work perfectly for all of us. So you can work for a company that does the best they can with what they have, and then you decide if that's in alignment with what you need, in my opinion.
Well, you are someone that looks at our resumes. Does like a jumpy resume scare you off?
Only, it doesn't scare me off if they're making vertical movements from place to place. If I can see that they're trying to grow or trying new like positions or learning new skill sets as they go, that's not scary at all. And if I get 18 good months good out of them, great.
I know that was another thing in the comments was like, you know, he's saying usually they last a little under 2 years per company on average. Like 2 years, like
that's a long time.
I don't even know that I would consider that job hopping. Like it's not that short of a time frame. Like he's a millennial. Like I think he's 1 year younger than me. Maybe he's my age. I can't remember. So he should know that like millennials job hop, like to grow themselves, to get career advancement. That's kind of the world that the cards that we were dealt, you know? And so it's a little shocking to me that like, that's such a turnoff for him.
Yeah.
But it maybe just also makes it a little obvious, like the difference between an entrepreneur who's loyal to his own ideas and has been for 15, 16 years versus the mindset of someone who is looking out for themselves, right? And has to make sure that their needs are met. And while they may be really inspired by the ideas that you have and the things that you're putting into the world,
inspiration doesn't pay the bills.
That's not enough. Like, inspiration doesn't pay their bill.
Mission, values alignment. Like as much as I want those things for everyone, it doesn't pay the bills.
Yeah.
And also entrepreneur, like this is like a gentle and loving reminder. There's, what is it? 7% of people in the world, in the US, own a business. 93% of the population is in the workforce.
Right.
So like you are not, your way of thinking and like the expectation that everyone is going to have the same thought process. We don't, because otherwise there would be a 100% of people having their own business. You know?
Yeah.
So
I was also like, maybe these people were job hopping to like vertically grow, develop new skills so that they could work for your company, because maybe they thought they needed all these skills to come work for
maybe
you.
You're,
right? So
you're end game.
Yeah, maybe you were end game for them.
Yeah.
And then you're just ignoring their resume. I'm like,
Yeah, like looking, it just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I think it's more of a like, to me, like, how do we keep these people here? Why are they job hopping then? What
Yes.
do they need, and can I meet those needs? If I
Yeah.
cannot meet those needs, be okay with it, be transparent. It was for a reason and a season,
Yeah.
right? Not for eternity. If I can meet those needs, great. Here's
Yeah.
what we can do. New challenge, new
Yeah.
growth, more money, more flexibility, whatever it might be.
It's
I
getting
just thought
out
it
of
was
touch with the
interesting.
reality of the workforce, you know?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, that was a great soapbox.
I know.
Bring on the next one.
Okay. My office is hiring an admin and I need to interview candidates, but I am miserable. My office is a toxic, chaotic place. I need to interview candidates for an admin position. What do I do when candidates ask me questions like, what do you like about working here? What's the culture like? I can't be honest because I'd say the only thing I like is the monthly free lunch. There are no benefits, long hours, no flexibility, and the boss yells at you like you were his kid. He also expects us to always be on call, even on vacation. How can I sell a company to that I hate to potential employees? This is like real because there are people that have to do like interviews and recruiting that like
Or miserable.
do
Yeah.
not like where they work.
Yeah. You have, there's a reason that you stay. So I don't know, you have to find, you can't say the negative things, but you can be, I don't know. I'm
Okay,
like,
this is
leave.
going to
You're
be mine.
miserable. Leave. Like,
Yeah, first of all, you're miserable, so why are you staying? Second of all, based on the conversation we just had, like different people need different things. So
correct.
just because your needs
Good
aren't
callback.
being met doesn't mean that their needs aren't going to be met. Now, the fact about it being like a toxic workplace, that's for another conversation, right? Like if you're being yelled at, I don't think anyone wants to be yelled at, but I would be flipping the question if I'm interviewing people like, what are the things that are important to you? Like, what values do you hold? Like, what's important to you in a workplace culture? And then I can tell you if those things are in alignment with what we have here, you know, because everyone has different needs, things that are important to them, and what things that are important to me may not be important to you. And so it really doesn't matter if I like working here or not, you know, like it's really going to matter how are you going to fit in here? And so I think that's like a very professional way to flip things around and still do your job.
Yeah.
And make sure that they're like a values fit and a culture fit for what they might be walking into. While also like while not having to lie, because that doesn't sound like it's going to feel good. And like maybe you also need to assess like why do you stay there? Are your needs being met in other ways that, you know,
make the rest of it tolerable?
Yeah, make the rest of it worth it. And sure, maybe you can highlight those things to this person as well. Like some of my highest values are X, Y, and Z. Those things are being met for me here with my paycheck or my this or my that. Some of my challenges are flexibility, because I also think you should be transparent of like, if this person really values having flexibility in a schedule and they're not going to get that here, you shouldn't be hiring them anyways, right? So I think understanding what their values are and if they're going to align with what the company is going to give them, then great. If not, then let them move on and you all move on, because you're going to have a job hopper if you hire this person and they're not really a good fit for what the culture actually is.
Yes.
So that's my 2 cents on how you get around that.
I think also this came up as I was listening, because at first I was like, ooh, I don't know, run for the hills. But asking during the interview, like, what drew you to this company? Like, you know, what excited you when you sent in your application? And then maybe trying to see if there's ways that you can amplify those things for this person. Well, of course, being totally honest about the things that are not flexible are not going to happen. And if they express certain needs that aren't going to be met. But, if they were excited about, maybe your boss yells but is a thought leader or something. It's like, yeah, he shares a lot of thoughts with us.
Like some people want to work for Elon Musk, like some people want to work for someone like that because of the level of thinking and ideation or whatever, or like a Richard Branson, which like Richard Branson is a kind of I have never worked for him, but I've met him and he's fun and he's playful and he's also like one of the most interesting thinkers in the world. So but I don't know how he manages or leads people. It could be terrible. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I could see people wanting to work for him just to be around that type of thinking and motivation and inspiration, even if it comes at a cost to people. So
yeah.
Like, what are this person's values? What's important to them? Like, why do they want to be here?
Yeah.
All really good ways to frame that conversation without being like, I hate this place. Don't come work here.
Have you seen The Devil Wears Prada?
Yes.
Okay, so this kind of reminds me of like one of those situations where, Anne Hathaway walks in and to her mind, this place is like a dumpster fire of toxicity. But to everyone else who works there, it's their dream job. And they are getting so many opportunities and they are getting to like do what they're passionate about. And they are willing to take the good with the bad, So just, keep that in mind as like, as the viewer, we could say like, oh yeah, like Miranda Priestly was terrible, but she's also a genius. So I just think, keep that kind of example in mind of like, maybe it's not for you, but that doesn't mean it's not for them. So just be honest and real, without putting your personal opinions on scenarios on things, because those are just your opinions. They're not facts. Just keep it to the facts.
Yep. All right. Next story. Okay. There was a man interviewing me for a technician position at a shop today. Background, I'm a female with a common male first name. So on paper, people will assume I'm a boy because of my name. I'm also an automotive technician with a really good looking resume that always has shops calling me and emailing me to come in for interviews. I'm really good at what I do. I get there for this interview, and as soon as I introduced myself, the guy's whole demeanor changed to just being very awkward. I literally cannot even count this as an interview because it was just so weird. He didn't ask me much and kind of talked to me like I was a child or something. Then he gets very quiet and he can't make eye contact and says, I don't know what to say to you. I've never interviewed a female before. What do I do?
Don't work there. Like, start your own shop is what you should do.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
You should advertise.
Hire,
and I would go there because I am afraid to talk to men at the automotive shop because I don't know what I'm talking about. But if I was going to a shop that was run by women, I feel like I'd be so much more comfortable. So, free business idea. Start your own. Don't work there.
Yeah, don't work there.
In fact, report them to someone for something.
Report them for discrimination.
Yeah.
Because the fact that you also have like a boy's name is
right. Like I can imagine like Taylor or like, you know what I mean? To me. Or
Tyler. Like I actually wanted to name one of our girls Tyler. I love the name Tyler for a girl.
Yeah.
Obviously Tyler didn't want me to name our daughter his name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a great idea to start your own shop or look for a shop that's already run by a woman if you don't have like the financial means to start one, but you could probably get a business loan. It's a great business idea.
So
especially
great.
If you're really skilled at what you do.
The marketing is marketing itself.
Yeah, exactly. Like
100%. That's where I would go every time. So
you could be our first sponsor for this podcast. We'll do it for free.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be a good work environment for you, obviously, right? So even if, things went better than this and you got the job, or even after this, if you got the job, but like, he doesn't even know what to say to you because you're a woman, like, that's odd. Like,
that's terrifying.
Yeah, so how is he going to treat you inside the shop when you're doing technician work? And he obviously can't respect you because you're a woman doing technician work. So even if you go, don't start your own business and go look somewhere else, like, yeah, you need to look somewhere else, because I'm sure there are shops out there where men are not flabbergasted that there's a female technician, or they're
Right.
not intimidated by a female technician, which sounds like that's what this is. I used to work in a very male dominated industry, forestry, and logging. And I could tell when someone didn't respect me or value my opinion, just because I was a woman, and it doesn't feel good. And you just have to be confident in your knowledge and know that, like, you deserve better than that, and this isn't a place where you want to spend your time. Like, whenever I had those situations, I would always just prove my value by being knowledgeable, right? And by showcasing that, like, actually I do belong here and I know what I'm talking about. And maybe you don't, right?
Yeah.
And inserting something that was very specific that they wouldn't maybe even have the knowledge of. So that could be a big FU on the way out the door of this interview, but I don't think this is a place you want to stick around for. So.
Yeah. Bye.
Goodbye. But yeah, start your own business, because that would be a incredible, business idea for an automotive shop, because you'd have all the moms in town coming to you.
Right? All the single lady. I mean, again, I'm falling right into the thing, but like, my husband does all the car stuff because I just don't know enough about it. And I just don't, I feel uncomfortable going in because I don't know what they're talking about. And I feel
then you feel like they're gonna be able to, like, dupe you.
Or even as the customer, I feel like they're like, oh, what are you doing here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe, people say you should fight against it, or I can just go where I'm comfortable.
And give my money to a woman who will make me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And still do a good job.
Totally.
Yep. That happened to me when we were car shopping.
Car shopping, yeah.
We got a minivan, right? And we were car shopping, and they were like, "Oh, is your name going to be on the car too?" This wasn't like the first place we went to that we did not end up buying a car there for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I was like, "What do you mean? Like, it's my car. It's my money, actually." Like, what? Like, why was the assumption that it was going to be Tyler's car? Because it was literally just because he was the man.
Because he was the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, actually.
And it's so pervasive, and I'm calling out my own 8-year-old son right now. But I mean, this is not obvious. I mean, this is not. But even this morning, I don't know what we were talking about, somehow, movies or something. And he was like, "Are there girl soldiers?" And I was like, "Of course there are." But they're too young to watch like war movies. They're not watching war movies like with soldiers and guns. But any commercial they see, like any ad they see, it's always men. Yeah. So I was like, of course there are. How do you not? But it's like, also I live in Canada. There's not a lot of soldiers in general. We don't have the same military ness in the culture. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, yesterday on the way home from school, Kit asked me if boys could paint their nails, like, because she got her nails painted this weekend, and I was like,
of course.
Yeah, of course they can paint their nails.
Tell her Oakley paints his nails all the time.
Yeah, it's like they can all paint their nails any color they want, anytime they want. And she said, "What about grown-up boys, like men? Can they paint their nails?" And I was like, "Yeah, men can have painted nails too, whatever they want to do." Yeah. She was like, "Oh, all right." One time we saw like a guy walking down the street and he had earrings, and she also had a lot of questions about, like, why is he wearing earrings? Like, men can't wear earrings. I'm like, yeah, men can wear earrings. He can wear whatever he wants, whatever makes him feel comfortable, It's
just so pervasive, even in homes where I'm actively fighting against it, against all the gender stereotypes, and it's just everywhere.
What they see, you know? Oh my gosh. This was like enough that I might even like say something to the teachers, but this was this week. One of her friends at school had gone to Monster Jam, which is like big monster trucks, right? And she was like talking about Monster Jam, and I want to go to Monster Jam. And I was like, okay, well, next time they come in town, like maybe we can go to Monster Jam. I didn't know that you would like that, but yeah, we could do that. I didn't know that they were even in town until I saw it. And she said, well, my teacher said that Monster Jam's for boys. Boys can go to Monster Jam. And I was like, no. I was like, who said that? And she told me like who said it. And I was like, no, everyone can go to Monster Jam. Monster Jam is for boys or girls.
It's for everyone.
Like, anyone can go to Monster Jam. But it's hard for me. Like, I don't know if her teacher actually said that or if that's like what she interpreted somehow, or, you know, like,
yeah.
But like, I don't want that being told to her.
Of course.
So,
yeah.
So, random side tangent.
Yeah.
I got to go to Monster Jam next time.
Perfect.
All right, last story of the day. It's hiring tangential, more like quitting. So I'm tired of the corporate world and I don't know what to do. Honestly, I've been in the corporate world for like 9 years now, almost 10. I told my wife that I've been feeling like quitting my job and just relaxing for a couple months, but I really don't want to look for a corporate job after that. I've been in tech for a long time. Money is good benefits and everything, but damn, I'm really tired of working at these jobs. If you've been in this situation before, what did you do? Also, there's not really any issues with the company I work for. So, just doesn't want to work anymore, it sounds
like. Listen, I feel you. I love my job, and I definitely have days where I'm like, I have to do this for 30 more years. Like, I have to work in any capacity for 30 more years before I can even consider not working. No. That sounds like torture. And I like what I do. So I think this is a totally normal thought process.
I think it's normal. I would also think about like, because you're very specific with like, I don't want to work in the corporate world anymore. Right. So like, what is it about the corporate world? Because you said your job is fine. You get good pay, good benefits, no issues with the company. But obviously there is something in terms of, you know, along the same line that we've been talking about all episode is like, what of your needs is not getting met here?
Yes.
Right? Like, what is not getting met that you're really looking for? Is there something that maybe you could ask for within your current company since you've been there a long time, that maybe could get those needs met? Or is it a completely different challenge that you're looking for, that you want to jump to a new industry or a new job altogether? Like, what is not being met for you? Because it sounds like on paper, it's checking a lot of boxes, but you didn't tell us like what it's not checking for you. Why you want to leave, unless you just don't want to work, you know, like you wanted to, you know, maybe relax for a few months, which is fine if you have the financial. Yeah, maybe they'll even approve a sabbatical. I've had a few friends actually who have asked their companies for an extended leave, whether that's for mental health reasons or just for a sabbatical, and it's been approved, especially people that have been there long term. Sometimes these are milestones that they can work into your benefits package. So maybe you just would like a sabbatical, and maybe that would actually refresh you and rejuvenate you to come back. And so instead of quitting and then taking the sabbatical, maybe you could negotiate a sabbatical and then decide if you really want to go back or not. Or maybe it would help you decide what you want to do next. Within that time, maybe something would appear, you know, in your psyche. So
I totally agree. Especially if you've been doing something for like 10 plus years, you're still quite young, you know, in the grand scheme of being in the workforce. And so I know that it can feel like, hey, I've been doing this forever and I still have a lot longer that I need to keep doing this. But it doesn't sound like there's anything inherently wrong for you. I think sometimes though we get in these, I think we talked about on the last episode about wintering. And like sometimes in our lives, like wintering is a bigger season. It's a season of your life in general where like you're just in it. You know, you're not, maybe you're not making big leaps in your career. You're at a comfortable place. If you're going to talk about that, you know, what you talk about, the S curve, like maybe you're just in your sweet spot, and sometimes it can be a little monotonous of like, oh, this is it. This is it.
Yeah.
I remember when I like was done having kids and I had really settled into work at Run Like Clockwork. And I was, you know, in my early 30s, and I just had like a good 6, 8, maybe even a year of, this is it. This is all. I have the house, I have the kids, I have the job, I have the husband.
Like, okay, now
like, what now? What do I do now? You know, just that lack of like, well, where do I go from what's next? And my therapist
what do I
was
dream
like,
about? What's on my goals list? If I've achieved a lot of the things that I've strived for so long,
you know. And my therapist was like, why does anything have to be next? Why can't we just be where we are? And I was like, no, that's not how life works.
Society told us
that there's more. Like, there's a bigger house.
You have to want more.
You know,
consumerism said you must want more.
You know, I have the house, but I don't have a pool. Like, you know, I have the job, but I don't have the dream titles. Like, it just feels like you should always keep pushing for more. And I think maybe when you reach certain levels, it does become a little bit monotonous until you find ways to spice it up. So maybe work is going good, but maybe life outside of work is also just a little bit monotonous, and we need to find ways to get our needs met. Back to the beginning, the top of the episode, like, what's not being met? Maybe you just need a little bit more excitement. Go skydiving.
I think you need to go to Disney World. I
highly recommend it.
You need to plan a trip to look forward to.
Sounds like you
because
get great pay.
Life doesn't have to. Yeah, life doesn't have to all be about work. It sounds like work's pretty fine. You know, like, yeah, maybe it's fine. Maybe you need something else to look forward to, or something else to.
Maybe you need a hobby, those other needs, a goal. Maybe
just like in a relationship, like, it's really unhealthy for you to expect one person to meet all of the needs that you have, right? Like, that is not going to end well in terms of your marriage or your relationship if you're like, this person has to meet every need that I have. Well, the same thing is true of a job or a business. Like, the business or the job does not have to meet all of your needs. And if you expect it to, you will be a job hopper. You will be incredibly disappointed.
Yes.
Right? So maybe we need to just map out, like, what are the needs that
hierarchy of needs.
Hierarchy of needs for yourself, for your family, for your life, and which needs is the job meeting. And okay, I like my job, things are going well, like, it's meeting these needs. And then which needs are going unmet, and how could we meet those in other ways, right? Through other hobbies or
volunteer work,
excitements, volunteer work, be on a board of a different company or a nonprofit, or get involved in politics or in local community or whatever it is. You know, there are other ways to get those needs met. And so but I don't think that many of us are very intentional with that. I mean, self included, of like, what are my needs and where am I, trying to meet all of them through this one thing versus saying, actually, like, I can go over here and do that. I don't need to, like, excuse my French, but like, fuck all this up over here, because you will.
Right.
Just because you're trying to get all the needs met.
Yes. So creating chaos over here because, like, you think that that's going to, like, solve your issue, but you're just ruining, like, something that's really stable, secure, and provides you a lot of the opportunity to do other things. So go to Disney World, join a volunteer somewhere, learn to crochet, and tell us how you feel in a year.
Because we literally, circle back to, like, we just had this conversation prior to pressing record about me.
Yeah, I was like, girl, can you just keep your feet on the ground for one minute?
Stop causing so much chaos. And thankfully, I can be self-aware enough to not get defensive and say, yes, you're right, I should stop doing that. So I love how this episode came full circle, and it was a good through line of conversation about getting our needs met in different ways, you know? And I think the bow on top is, if we were going to tie a bow on it, is like, as humans, we all have needs. We all have different needs. it's our responsibility to identify what those needs are and know that like not one individual person or not one individual role can meet all of those needs. So where do we need to get them met so that we can have the good things that are already available to us and not ruin them because we want more and more and more out of that one person or that one thing.
Yeah. It's like a vampire, suck it dry. Like, no.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, if you have your own story, you can submit it at dearworkwives.com. Please and thank you. You can also just send us a DM. You can do whatever you need to do. You can send us a carrier pigeon. Just send us your stories.
At Dear Work Wives on social. Go to Instagram at Dear Work Wives. We will receive your message. And follow us. Share this episode with a friend. Share one of our clips on social media. It's really helpful to change the way that we work. That is what we're here to do. And I appreciate you being on this mission with us. But being a part of the mission means sharing the mission. So that's your homework for the week.
And we'll see you next Tuesday.
That's it. We'll see you next Tuesday.